Call to order, have minutes.
Motion to approve. Not paying attention.
Second.
Have a motion and a
There you go.
second.
It's quick.
All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Mayor, you just voted to approve the minutes.
You better
This
know.
won't be counted as that.
He had released others to go.
Public comments?
All right. All right there.
Finance director's report.
All right, I'm gonna skip past the fund balance before we go to the next page. We'll be sending budget worksheets out next week, and, y'all remember last year, we sort of didn't do needs requests, we focused on pay instead. I'm looking at 4 things that we probably need to look at doing this year or have already done that we've got to fund. We've got the sheriff's department raise, which was 11%. A little over, but 11% was about 2.4 million. We've got the increase to the work comp and property and casualty insurance, where we've had like additional funding in the past to cover that, or we had extra funds built up in that fund that are now gone, so we need about 1.4 million there. Our 2% step cost about $1 million, and then last year we did a pay study up to a certain point. We didn't finish it, but one of the recommendations was a 10% adjustment to the table. Last year we did a 4. I'm recommending, depending on what this body says, that we do the other 6. And then I would look down at the funding sources there. This would require all the growth money from the general fund, roughly 2.1 million. The growth money that otherwise would be assigned to the general debt service fund of about 600,000. The stormwater fees, the Urban Type Facilities Board has already done. They've been increased. So that's gonna, and they've been diverted away from the stormwater reserve to the general fund. So that's gonna produce about 900,000 for the general fund. We would then do a penny shift from debt service. That penny today is worth 740,000. It's probably gonna be worth more than that, when we actually finish the calculations. And so that would leave us needing about 2.4 million, let's call it 2.5, in order to balance everything out that would come from interest income. Sitting here today, we're counting on $4.2 million in interest income to balance out the general fund, so we're actually reducing our dependence on that interest income. And given the fact that we're gonna be spending some money on the storm cleanup, again, we keep saying that, you know, that interest income is completely dependent on our cash balances. Well, if we spend $5, $6, $7 million cleaning this debris up, that's $5, $6, $7 million we're not gonna be earning interest on. So I think reducing our dependence on that, as far as recurring expenditures, is a good thing. You could consider, if you wanted, an increase in the residential AFT. I don't think I specified their residential, but that's what I'm talking about. And so while the instructions that we'll send out, unless you guys tell me otherwise, will be, you know, we're probably not granting any needs from the department this year unless y'all tell me otherwise. But they're welcome to submit whatever they want to. We will, whatever needs are brought and make it through committee will be brought to you. And so if they need to get something on record, or if there's something that they really truly need that you guys need to consider, that's fine. But since budget worksheets are going out next week, I thought I should probably put this in front of you today. Say, you know, we'll probably let them know that I don't think there's gonna be any money for needs. I don't know that I don't think I'm really asking for a vote as much as is everybody okay with that? Is there something else that we wanna do, change, whatever, when the budget instructions go out?
I mean, we can say that, but I think we'll still get pushback on it.
I'm sure.
So,
I'm sure.
Can spend what you ain't got.
understand that?
Yeah.
On that AFT possibility, what committee would that have to start in?
So, planning and zoning.
Well, it could,
That's where it started last time. Yeah.
in planning and zone.
Yeah. Where was the permits at on that team?
I'm
Are
sorry.
we low in reference?
We're running about in line with budget. So we are we're not setting the world on fire, although somebody told me, that maybe there was a pretty good development in Mount Juliet, that we should be expecting a fairly large inflow.
Where,
I don't know. I will tell you, again, I don't want to throw a commissioner's name out there publicly without, but there was a commissioner that, in that area, who said there was something coming in. So, yeah, I don't know where. So anyway, you're on pace for what you budgeted, regardless whether that other thing comes to fruition or not.
The raise that the sheriff's department got, we referred to it as one step across the board, wasn't that equal to?
That was 11%, and it was actually a grade. They all went up in grade.
That's right.
Yes.
Why would we not be considering the rest of the rest of the county employees all across the board?
Yeah, and I understand that, and so here's what I think happened, but without doing a pay study, I can't tell you, or this is what's in my mind, and then, again, whatever y'all tell me to do, we're gonna do. We knew we needed a 10% adjustment to the table across the board based on the study that was done. I believe that not everybody moves equally, and this is what I mean. There's gonna be times when paramedics and EMTs outpace the sheriff's department. They did back in, the last pay study we did. There's gonna be times where road department employees, truck drivers, whatever, might outpace everybody else. I think what we've seen, based on the documentation that I have seen, is that sheriff's department employees, patrol officers, et cetera, not just, I don't wanna single out the sheriff's department, law enforcement, I should say, those wages have jumped at a pace quite a bit different than the overall wage rate has jumped. That's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, but if you guys turn around and tell me, let's do an 11% across the board for everybody, that will increase the numbers, but that is,
I just don't understand one department's employees being more valuable than the rest of the county employees.
yeah,
We're responsible for every one of them. I'm one of them, I know that.
yeah. And I
You
understand, and I understand what you're saying. I reiterate that the whole point of this is to pay somebody based on market. Market doesn't mean necessarily that everybody moves at the same percentage.
And we had conversations, and so I'll just kind of add to that, and I understand where you're coming from. If, why is this department getting 11% raise and the rest of us just getting 6? But as we addressed that, we said, and it was brought to us, I can't hire people, I can't get patrol officers, I can't get jailers, I can't get this. We did the study, the lady come back, and I have the documentation where she put the dots on the wall, on a sheet that said, hey, this is where your people are, here's where everybody else is. So that's what we did, and you guys did to address that need. And then as we started looking at the budget season this year, me and Aaron began to talk, and I said, okay, well, last year we were told 10% for regular employees across the board, including the sheriff's department, was what was needed. We were able to do 4, and then so I said, okay, are we gonna do another pay study this year? Or we said last year was a pay study, we didn't complete it, and we do it again next year. So we began to talk, say, okay, well then we probably need to come to you guys and say, before we go out to the employees and say, let's do a pay study, and they come back with whatever, then and you have to be able to answer to that or ante up to that. So what did you want to do? Did you want to finish up what we learned last year, which was, hey, we were told 10, we gave 4, finish up to 6 this year, and give you where that revenue's at, or if you want to consider revenue increase, and we'll just go out and ask everybody for needs, and also go out and talk to everybody about, hey, just redo the study again. So that was kind of why we had the conversation, and we said, let's just talk to everybody and find out what you want us to do. So, and with this, Aaron found this amount of money here for the 6%, because that's what the table said. What you're saying is, hey, can you make it 11%? Can we find 11%? I think you struggle to get this, so to get 11 would be, I don't know,
We found $1.2 million in interest proceeds just like that to fund this raise. through the budget, let's be honest.
Yeah, the interest is.
Snap of a finger.
Yeah.
At budget time, we were told that we were doing everything we possibly could to do what we did for the employees at budget time.
Yes,
And then 4 months later,
yes,
we found $1.2 million.
yeah.
But to add,
We actually even took money from one department to be able to do what we did for the employees.
Yes, and as a general.
And then we found $1.2 million. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm basing this on.
yeah. As a general rule, I strongly encourage you not to hitch your wagon to a permanent inflow of $18 million in interest income.
Uh-huh.
Was it there at that moment? Yes, to get us through for that time? Because quite honestly, the conversation we're having today is not the conversation I thought we were gonna be having then. The conversation we're having today is to avoid the conversation I thought we were gonna be having.
What's that, property tax? We go ahead and say it. That's-
but I think also when we look at trying to balance our budget and work for our budget and do whatever, you know, we look at what we know we can guarantee that's coming in, either through sales tax, property tax, wheel tax, whatever that is. We don't count on interest income. And the only reason interest income is even where it's at today is because you guys have stepped up to the table and built a judicial center. You've also stepped up to the table and built 2 schools with 1 on the way. So that extra money is sitting in the bank drawing interest. When those things get built and we quit building, interest income will not be nowhere around.
I
And so,
can't argue any of this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So
But we obligated ourselves to $2.4 million of it unless we find some additional revenue by that raise for the sheriff's department.
that's true.
And all I'm gonna say is every employee in this county is just as valuable, one's just as valuable as the next.
Thank
They
you.
all got a job and they all come to work and do it. And I just don't understand.
And Tommy, I agree with you that everybody's just as valuable as the next, but that doesn't mean they get the same amount of pay raise on an annual basis.
Well, then let's, Bible pay study, tell us what we ought to raise. That's what we spent all that money on.
The pay study did tell you that, and it told you that these people were behind and way behind with the sheriff's
What does
department,
it
where
say
everybody
about-
else is not.
What does it say about all your employees here in the courthouse?
Said needed 10. That's what it told us last year. It said
Okay.
needed 10. And then Sheriff
So-
Ryan come in here and said, I can't hire anybody. We're going in the tank. I can't get people, and that's where we had to step up and do that. So I'm not arguing with you, but I'm just saying,
Sounds like.
well, no, I'm just telling you the truth, because, I mean, I think you're pleading for our people, and so, I mean, am I gonna not plead for our people? You daggone right I am. I mean, that's why we started this crap a long time ago, because our people came and said, we're not getting paid enough. So I do take offense to it a little bit when I say, because I know the amount of money we've given employees over the past several years, we've busted our tail to do that, and you've done that. But when the sheriff came and said, hey, man, I can't hire nobody to run the jail, that's a problem. I had nobody else come to me and say, hey, look, I can't get these people. That guy there came to us a few years ago and said, I can't get teachers, and we said, okay, let's put the sales tax out on referendum. They passed it, and he's been working on it ever since. So me and you are close, and we argue all the time, I know that. But I have to say that what we were doing here was to give you an option. If you tell us today, hey, scratch that
If
thing,
you'd have done this before we gave that 6% raise at budget time last year, I wouldn't be sitting here making this stand I'm saying. The sheriff went right on board with this. We granted his employees that 6%, and 4 months later, we turned around, we don't make enough money, we need 11%. And that's what happened. And I'm not saying it's wrong, but one's as good as the other. Treat them the same. That's all I'm saying.
And that, unfortunately, I need to go on record as saying that is not my goal, to treat everybody the same. My goal is to pay everybody based on market. Now, right now, we don't have a study to show what market is, except for the last study.
Well,
So,
but
we're gonna see
like that, we use
situations.
that. He's saying it's 10, right?
That's what
Let's
it
do
was.
10.
Yeah. Well, 10 was total. We did 4 and 6. That's
That's
10.
right. Went to
So
6
in
this
other
year.
words, we done 17 for well.
No, the
Sheriff's Department.
Sheriff's Department's not getting the 6.
They got it last year. So 6 then and 11.
But they're not,
Correct.
You
You're,
got the
yes.
minus says
Yes.
17
No, I'm
there.
with you now. I don't know where you're going there. Yep.
but they're not getting this 6.
I understand that, but
Okay.
I'm looking at what we've already done.
Right.
And-
So, yes.
And that's why I'm saying we need to treat people the same.
Yeah.
We done everything we could. We were told we scratched every dollar we could from every corner to do what we did at budget time. And then, just like magic, we found $1.2 million.
Well, you found $1.2 million in what month?
I don't know, October, November, yeah, October, November, I don't remember exactly, but somewhere in there. But I mean, it's not that we didn't think that the interest income was gonna be there. The question was, did we want to commit ongoing recurring
I
expenditures
understand
against it?
that, but if we're gonna commit like that in one place, how do you do it for one group of people and not do it for the other?
Yeah,
And the only reason
You
we
know,
did that,
We can go round and around here all day over this, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like we're gonna go anywhere. But I'm just wanting to make sure that y'all know how I feel about this.
yeah, and I wanna be on record whether it makes 900 county employees mad at me or not. My goal is not to pay everybody the same.
Now,
My goal is
I
to pay everybody
understand
based
that,
on.
and I don't mind honoring, we spent a lot of money on that pay plan.
Yes,
We certainly need to honor.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah,
So I'm not arguing that point at all.
Yes.
You're the one laid that number at 11%, that's a big raise, I
it's a
know
big
that.
raise. Yes.
Uh,
Here's
When
my
would-
thing.
If we did another, study, when would we do that?
You would have to start immediately, but if we're doing it this year, otherwise it'll be next year.
Here's my thing, if I may. We do this, and then next year we're gonna have to raise pay again.
Mhm.
We're playing catch up. At the end of the day, and I believe the sheriff's office still needs more money. Because we're gonna be right back where we were. We're gonna be having the same conversation we're having right now.
It's never ending.
It's gonna, until we get there. And that's something this body, we're gonna have to figure out. Because we'll be right back here, and we will be talking about property taxes.
Yeah, and I think I'll go on record as saying, I'm not selling you this as the final solution.
Sure.
This is a short term, you know, the best that I can do for the moment.
This is a Band-Aid.
Yes.
How many commissioners are gonna be willing to vote for a tax increase? Very few.
Very few. I haven't, I have not taken that poll.
So without a tax increase, this is our only option. Pretty much.
Pretty much, I mean, you can rely on a larger portion of interest income to Tommy's point, just to make the math simple. If you took the 6% table adjustment for non-sheriff employees and you made it 12, because the math works better that way, instead of coming up with $2 million, now you're coming up with 4, which means you're counting on $4 million in interest income to make the difference. But if you're gonna do, again, you can do that. That's not, my thing was the last pay study said the table needed to be adjusted by 10%. So I'm working off the last solid data that I have. Otherwise, I don't know, if we did a pay study today, I don't know that it would say that we need an adjustment to the table that large. Because I think what we've seen overall, again, not in every single segment. That's why I want to be very careful and say, I'm not saying that basically everybody needs to move. If one person moves 6, everybody needs to move 6. It may be that the sheriff's department needs to move 17, as we said a minute ago, because law enforcement wages have moved at that rate. Whereas finance department wages have not moved at that rate. So, unless and until we do a pay study and I get some data behind but again, I want to say, I think things have slowed down on the labor market front. And overall, not in every single area. There's still certain areas, law enforcement's probably one of them. But overall, I think the labor market has settled down a lot. You're not driving up and down the street anymore seeing Chick-fil-A paying $20 an hour and I'll pay you the same day. I mean, I think the labor market has slowed.
No, I agree with you. We need to, in my opinion, we need to work on the pay scale or the pay study that we currently have. And then wait till next year to do another one. And if we're at that point, if we're playing catch up, we're playing catch up. What do you need, what kind of decision do we need to make today
All I'm telling you.
related to this?
All I'm telling you is, do I need basically to send out in the budget worksheets that we send out, do I need to basically let departments know that, basically, we're not granting a lot of needs this year, probably none. And that's the message that I'm planning on sending, but I'm not gonna send that message unless you tell me
A
otherwise.
duplicate of last year.
A duplicate of last year. You guys are welcome to send me whatever needs, talking about the departments, you're welcome to send me whatever needs you have, but most of them are probably not gonna be granted.
Because one-time needs maybe could be granted.
We could do some one-time.
They're capital projects.
And there could be something that we're not aware of sitting here today that we figure out for one reason or another that we have to do. You know, I don't know what that would be, and hopefully it wouldn't be anything all that significant, but there could be something recurring that, you know, we just absolutely positively have to do.
And I think another point that you just made, that it kind of dawned on me, when we go back and redo the study, everybody don't get the same percentage raise.
I understand that. No
I mean,
problem.
they may look at this department and say, you're pretty good, and that department, you're kind of weak, you know, and you need more, so we don't, and she'll come back and average across the board what we need, but everybody may not get.
And that's what happened in the sheriff's department, right? It just equaled out to an 11% increase total.
Yes, sir.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
and go back to that, we were not shooting for 11%.
Now,
We
I'm
can't-
not saying we need to.
Yeah, no. There were 3 people that he said, hey, I gotta have this, this, and this, jailers, dispatch, and patrol. So we looked at that, found out what that was. And moving those people, it put them right up against, it put them making the same thing the people that were supervising. And that's why that grade level happened. Otherwise, we were not going that route. We were not headed that direction.
I mean,
So do we need a motion and a vote directing our finance director which direction to go here?
I think it takes a vote, I just think we just need to tell them yes or no.
Yeah, so, unless y'all tell me to do something different when the budget worksheets go out next week, it will more or less say that, you know, the money this year will go into employee compensation, much like it did last year, so there's not going to be, any needs of a recurring basis granted, unless there just happens to be one that we can't turn down for whatever reason.
I agree. Anybody else agree?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, budget amendments. First one is for the Ag Center, for the purchase of the land on East Padua Parkway.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
The county clerk, and we probably need to look at the page behind. So the top there, top section is their postage. And if you go back to 22-23, they had a revised budget in that year of $131,500. We keep dropping it back down to 91.5. 91.5 is their, is the base. So we dropped it down to 91.5 and they made it through that year okay. The following year, they had to come back for another $22,000. Well, in going back to 22-23, they had to come to us for $40,000. And then in 24-25, they had to come back for $22,000. So we keep having to give them more money for postage, which is the reason why this is marked recurring. And same with communications. We keep having to, if you look at the budget amendment column, 2,395, 200, and 1,000. They keep having to come back and ask for more money, so we've marked this as recurring. If you want it to be non-recurring, it can be, but there is evidence that this is something you can do.
So moved is reoccurring.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Some more good news. News this morning said Postal Service is underwater $9 billion.
Good.
You know what's coming. Postage ain't gonna go down.
What is it now? 75 cents? I don't even know.
If they said $9 billion will be out of money by next June.
The next one is on the refunding bonds we just issued. This is the interest on the refunding bonds that are paid out of the General Debt Service Fund.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Excuse me.
The next one is the interest on the refunding bonds that were issued out of the Rural Debt Service Fund.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comment? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
And property assessor is requesting funds to cover communications, $1,900.
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Let me interject again, there'll be a resolution in the packet this time to put us on a reappraisal cycle. Is it 3 years, Mayor? 3 years, doesn't have to come through here, but you'll have 2 sponsors. But it'll be in, he's gotta have it done by April, I think. So it'll be in the packet.
So we'll be reappraising every 3 years, is what you're saying?
Yes,
Isn't that what it is? Yeah.
they want us to do every year. Previously.
Yeah.
Which will help which will help us because then the commercial people who are missing right now every 5 years. So that'll give us more revenue. It's not necessarily hurt the.
It won't help the
that much.
homeowners, none.
Do what now?
Said it won't help the homeowners, none.
And you know, as long as you don't raise taxes on it, it should be even to those people, but we're losing the part of the commercial piece. That's what they're saying.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't want to chase that rabbit too far, but it's never really even on reappraisal. It's even overall. But if you're in an area that has appreciated faster than somewhere else, then you're
That's how those people ring the
Yes.
phone and knock on doors and mad because their taxes went up, we're claiming we didn't have a tax increase.
right. Right.
And for some though, we set to a class of day, for some they go down.
They do.
They give us a number
I
of
haven't
people
met
that.
them.
They don't complain. They don't complain.
You let me know where.
Yeah, you haven't heard from yet.
I haven't met them folks.
But they're happy, they think we made a mistake, but they think,
Yeah.
they ain't put that money. Yes, sir.
The next one is for emergency management. They're requesting funds for overtime and utilities to get through the end of the year. We do have this marked as non-recurring. I know Marty's here if y'all have any specific questions. I'm assuming that's why he's here. I can answer a little bit if you have any, but
You assume right. He drew the short straw, that's why he's here. Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any comment or questions?
What is the utilities, Marty, do you know?
Sir,
Utilities?
yes,
Just
where the utility prices has went up, inflation over the last 2 years. When we built Station 3 and 10,
Mhm.
when I figured one, just like the water bill, I didn't realize there were gonna be like 2 water bills for each station. It's a fire line and a regular line, so the utility bills, the water bills at both stations usually run me around $450 to $500 a month. Cause the fire line is a flat 210.
Does the utilities need to be marked as reoccurring, really?
I think, Tommy, in fairness, they probably should, and I started to do that on this one, and I didn't, and I think it's a good point, because I think if we looked back, we would see that they've come for money for utilities towards the end of the year, pretty regularly.
How can we change that?
Change
it.
Just on
Put
this
it in
vote.
something.
Just, what I'll do is I'll write in 25,000, or 50,000, excuse me, under recurring, and Mike, I'll send you a updated copy.
Okay.
50,000 recurring and non-recurring will be the 325,000.
Now, the overtime, some of that will get reimbursed, correct?
Yes, sir.
From the ice storm.
The note that I had, most of it should be reimbursed, because of the ice storm.
But it'll go right back where it's coming from, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You make that motion?
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And then, I need to do this one, and there's something that I left out of your packet that I need to go print off, and I'll let the schools go after this while I'm getting that. But, this one is to establish, a fire inspector, lieutenant position. I did talk to Joey, and this is not, adding a roster spot. So, this is a position that basically, I forget the mechanics of it. Marty might remember it better than me, that were mentioned in the meeting the other night. But that was one of the things that I know Justin was focused on, and, you know, I asked as well, are we basically adding something to the roster? And he says we're not, so. And also not taking over a currently filled firefighter spot either.
You're losing a mechanic.
No.
You're losing a position.
A position, but it's not,
I understand we got.
I don't think
a job,
it's,
but-
I don't think it's, mechanics, but I think it was where, when our old planning officer retired, she had a position.
Mhm.
And then we already had the meteorologist position. Okay, well, he combined that job into one, which is planning and meteorology, which left
That's
that
correct.
planning tag open. And that is the one that he's pulling to this.
So right here it
rename
says fleet mechanic.
Well, it's pulling from guidance, personnel, fleet mechanics, salary line, and we're trying, he's done everything in this, out of his own budget.
Mhm. I understand that.
So no, but go back to answer your question. No, we are not, as far as I know, we are not losing any mechanics, no.
No, I understand you're not losing a mechanic, but you're losing a mechanic's position.
Correct.
You want, if you hired one tomorrow, you wouldn't have the money to pay him if we do this, is what's happening.
For the funds,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, that's
yes,
what we're paying him out of.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's where my question was that night. I was trying to track the head count, because what I've seen is that you have department heads, they'll have a head count, and then they want to change position or add a certain position, and they're taking it from over here and moving it over here, but yeah, you're losing really that spot. It's still within your budget, but you're losing that spot. So when someone comes and said, hey, I'm down 4 firefighters, or I'm down 4 patrol officers, but I'm gonna move this over here, you know, what are we doing? So that was kind of my question the other night.
Yeah, and look, I had questions as well, because typically speaking, and again, it depends on the timing of when all this was done, and I can't speak to when the timing of all this was done, but typically speaking, that unfilled position would be in a roster spot at pay grade 8. That's what we do with unfilled positions. We put them, we budget them at pay grade 8, and they're unfilled. So typically speaking, if that position was on the roster, all I really would have to do would be to fill it, because the money would already be in the budget. So I was a little confused myself as to the moving of the money.
Right.
Um,
And that's where my question came from, the
Yeah.
EMA committee.
yeah, so,
But,
I
but just help me understand. I don't have money sitting there for a fleet mechanic that is open, and I took that money away, right?
That's my understanding. yes.
If you do
All-
this, you're taking it away.
There,
Is that saying that I got an empty spot there for a fleet mechanic? Because I was thinking we did one there.
no,
What that says.
I don't know, in the
Well,
fleet, go ahead.
what's weird,
We just had more money in that line than we needed.
well, again, that would also be weird, because generally speaking, the roster rules. And if the roster says you have 4 mechanics, and, you know, all those positions are filled or not, again, I would also have on there a planning officer or whatever it is that's vacant.
Right.
And I wouldn't need to do this to basically fill this.
Correct.
So
Where's
I'm
that money then, or where's that line?
I'm not 100%.
So that's the tracking, that's what I'm trying to keep up with, is tracking. That's how, when you track your head counts and your salaries, it should match, right?
Yep.
And that was my question, is like, okay, how are we doing this if it's not gonna take that spot?
Okay, so, for the longest time, let me go back and answer mechanics. 3 full-time mechanics is what we've had for a long time. And we had 1 part-time. Part-time, don't take this wrong, part-time didn't count, it's just
Sure.
3 full-time. We have 3 full-time mechanics.
Mhm.
When the planning and meteorologist went as one, I think it was approved that a slice of the planning money went, because she was doing double duties, into the meteorologist planning position, which left the benefits package some money are the benefits and, the benefits package for a person open.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's what, that package will go to this new person named inspector. So you had some money left from that, from the old planning officer spot. And then he's put, and I cannot ask about the fleet maintenance, I cannot answer that.
That's the bulk of it, it's sixty,
And
not necessarily $63,000.
And I'm thinking that may be fleet mechanics, I don't know where you come up with that, but 142 is our full-time line, isn't it, Aaron?
There are so many payroll lines, I don't remember off the top of my head what 142 is.
So you're
So-
using the benefit package for that, but yet you're pulling from you're using the salary of the mechanic.
Well, according to this.
Well, according to
it's
that,
According to
right.
this, yes.
And that's where Tommy's question is
Right.
like, you're losing that position, is that the part-time position, or that the 61, or is that the full-time?
I'm not sure.
Not sure.
I can find out for you very.
I see where you're
quickly.
coming, I know, I see that question, yep, I
I
understand.
guess what I'm getting at, Marty, and I guess I really ain't trying to throw you on the bus, and I'm not really opposed to this, but you're creating a brand new position and that doesn't exist. Joey's always telling us he doesn't have enough personnel as it is. So why hadn't we already took this and used it to utilize hiring? I know it's not but one position, but why hadn't we,
Use that position to go,
on an ambulance, on a fire truck?
well,
whatever
because
y'all-
it throws your numbers off whack, because when you go to full, on the ambulance or stuff like that, you've got to do 3. And you don't, instead of coming and asking for 2 more to make that, position, cause you gotta do all 3 shifts at once.
Are you gonna, did you fix to make a phone call?
I was, yes.
Okay, go ahead, and we're gonna skip you, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
And I'm gonna turn it over to the school board people and go print something off real quick. I'll be right back.
I'm gonna ask one question. When we hired the fire marshal, didn't they kind of lead us to believe that it would generate a lot of revenue?
Yes.
It is doing that. What I think we didn't realize, and we've had this ongoing conversation, the amount of work that's in there
Yeah.
has been tremendous.
Yeah.
We've even looked at it and said, okay, do we really have to be doing the urban growth boundary area? Because really, that's in the city. So we try to get out of that. We can't get out of that, but that's a part of ours too. Cause I've had some complaints of saying, hey, I've got to your fire marshal and I don't get a response. So me and him met. He said, "Mayor, I'm doing all I can. I got this stuff to do." And Daniel's pretty thorough. He's gonna go by the book with every one of them, so I trust him on all that. So one of the ladies that left over there and retired,
Ms. Wells.
she had a sister in Texas.
Tamara.
Tamara.
So she was gonna go help him with part-time, but she has a lot of, traveling events that she wants to do. So he was gonna say, okay, well, he's gonna try to find another person to kind of do some more part-time stuff. But he said at the end of the day, this workload is so much, we're probably gonna have to have another. I had asked him to give me the amount of money that we've taken in so far off of the, permit fees and stuff that's been out there. He is working on that for me, because that is exactly what we were told.
From what I recall, I do remember having that conversation in committee at WEMA when we did the fire marshal position, that it's supposed to generate enough revenue to go to pay for his salary and to pick up for an inspector, I believe.
Yeah, I just didn't, I remember the process saying if we do this, have enough to pay for what?
Yep.
Yeah, and you may hear this in conversation out there, we had somebody that challenged and said that the fire marshal could not be, appointed by WEMA, that it had to be appointed by me. That, we found out today that that's not true, that's what the law says. But it says if you have a countywide fire department, the fire chief does. So we're legal there to hear that out there conversation.
I've not heard that.
Yeah.
School system, number 10.
Present to you budget amendment number 10. This is mainly our general purpose school fund with one item for capital projects. The first 2 items on budget amendment number 10 are for insurance reimbursements. The $150,000 is for transportation, insurance claims, just accidents throughout the last few months. We get insurance reimbursed back to us for that. The second item on there is for $12,115. This is once again an insurance reimbursement. Lightning strike at Watertown Elementary took out our intercom system, so this is putting budget back into technology line, be able to replace that intercom system. The third item on here is a correction from budget amendment number 9, $273. I transposed the number last month and typed in 373 when it should have been, 363 when it should have been 636. So this is just correcting that one line right there. The next item on there is a revision at the state level for our early literacy tutoring grant. We're just reallocating funds from a instructional supplies line to travel and staff development. Just total dollar amount is $450.99. Next item on here is a grant we just got awarded for a tutoring innovation grant. Total grant amount is $74,600. This grant will allow us to staff 48 math tutors that targets grades 6 through 8. It'll allow us to have them work 4 hours a week at $40 an hour for 12 weeks. So it's a cost of $1,280 per tutor. Once again, this grant targets grades 6 through 8 math tutoring. The next item on here is we are reallocating funds for positions at Central Pike. We are taking money out of the principal line and a miscellaneous other charges line and redistributing that to fund a registrar for 3 months, an assistant principal for 1 month, and a bookkeeper for 1 month. This will just allow the principal to get some staff in there to get operations up and running for her school. The next item on here is what we call a high cost, IDEA high cost reimbursement. IDEA is special education. Every year we have to submit to the state a report, and this is for high cost targeted special education students. So we submit as far as everything we spend for these targeted students, and depending on the pool of money that they have available at the state, they'll redistribute some of that back to the county, to us. Fortunately, this year we received $704,806 back. So a quick rundown of the plan on how to use this money is we're going to use a bulk of it for our extended school year program for special education. This is essentially a program that runs throughout the summer. And then we're also going to redistribute it for some staff development at $100,000. We're going to do $100,000 for instructional supplies and programming. Equipment, we're going to do $50,000. This will be for cameras, ViewSonics in the classroom, and iPads. We're going to do $50,000 for furniture, office furniture. For this office furniture, I did ask just to get some clarification on it. This will include office furniture at the central office because they had some furniture in them that's very old, but they're also going to do some furniture in the classrooms. It's just a lot of wear and tear for these special education classrooms, so they're going to go ahead and replace some of that with this funding that became available. And then we're redistributing $132,000 for our contracts. We have a lot of contracts with a lot of vendors throughout the year, so we're just going to help supplement those contracted expenses on that. And those, of course, are for targeted special education students also. Next item on here is, in our original budget, we just had $2 million earmarked for textbook curriculum. We're just gonna draw down the $2 million that we had for that. We're gonna go ahead and earmark that and get it spent out this year. The last item on it here is for our capital projects fund. We are redistributing reallocating $902,785 from our fund balance in our capital projects fund to help supplement 2 bids that came over what was originally budgeted. The first project is the West Wilson Athletic Facility renovation. We originally had earmarked from bond money $1,069,650. The bid came in at roughly $1.6 million. So we're supplementing out of this budget amendment right here, $557,349. And then we had earmarked out of fund balance $500,000 for the paving project at Mount Juliet Middle School. Low bid came in at $845,000, so we're supplementing that by $345,433.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, number 11.
All right, budget amendment number 11. We received outcome bonuses and performance bonuses from the state. So this is reallocating those funds that we received from the state as a one-time bonus of $850 to full-time employees and $425 to part-time employees. Once again, the funding sources was from two pots of money. The first one is what's referred to as the high-performing LEA bonus. In order to qualify for this, 50% or more of our schools received a grade letter A or higher, or I guess grade letter A. And it's a minimum 50% to qualify for this. The state had allocated in their original budget $17 million to give out for these bonuses, so we received $1.8 million from that. The second part of the pot that we're going to use to supplement this is from an outcome bonus for classroom performance. We had originally budgeted in our original budget $1.3 million for that. We actually received $1.9 million, so that's a difference of about $697,000 that we received. So all in all, it's about $2.5 million that we are just redistributing back to our employees in a form of a bonus.
So good.
Yeah, second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, you wanna go back to WEMA?
We did reach Joey, and I think Marty has a recollection here, but we also did mention to him that, and he was okay if we needed to defer it to next month for him to be here. But, Marty, do you want to speak to the?
Yeah, at the last budget, that's why I figured out where the mechanics, fleet mechanics. We had 3 full-time positions. We had one gentleman at the time of budget that, came in and we were putting on as like a full-time, part-time kind of person, didn't get benefits, but, got salary paid. Well, after budget, we got the money at that time to put in our line and stuff. After budget went through and stuff like that, one of our full-time mechanics quit. And we moved the guy that was gonna go part-time, full-time into his slot.
On Cat quit, right?
No, Corey.
Corey. That's right.
Yeah, Corey came Corey came after Michael.
Okay.
And then when he quit and went and wanted to only do part-time or if needed, then the guy stood up in his place, so that left that 62 open in our fleet line that he's not going to use as in a mechanic wise, because the 3 that we have are taking care of everything marvelously. So that's where that fund balance came for this move to go into the fire inspector.
Is there any more questions or concerns that need to be addressed?
So you ended up with extra funds in there because you put somebody in it, you wouldn't have to pay as much
Yes,
benefits wise and lesser salary.
that's right.
Okay.
And then since the full-time guy quit, he moved into his, and then we had that funding set.
And you don't need an additional person like you had at that time that's kind of a part-time / full-time person because the 3 are doing okay.
Not like that. The 3 that we've got are excellent, doing excellent. There is one guy, that guy that dropped down to part-time. We haven't had to call him yet, but he is on our part-time list if we have to call him in for something, but that'll come out of part-time line. Like if one of the 3 goes on vacation or something like that we need, we can call him and he'll come help us. But other than that, just your every day, day to day, they're doing excellent.
So that line, that position's going away, right? What we're saying.
That part-time, full-time, yes.
So for the record, we'll make sure it's clear that that position's going away. And the head count's gonna match. Yep.
Did we get a Motion to accept,
You do.
approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There we have, motion and a second. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
The last thing I just handed you was the resolution, which, Michael, I tried to use Mike's resolution, but it's time to reappoint the county attorney. The annual salary is $129,530.35.
Y'all have to set the salary, or the county commission has to set the salary when the election's second.
Is that part,
That's the reason too.
is that part of the pay study?
I don't know, I gotta check today, I'm there.
Pay study?
Well, they took our, state raise out, Mike, can we take yours out?
Yeah, he's gonna
I
go.
have no idea. I get a check every 2 weeks, Tommy. I
I
don't ever
get
see
one
it.
every month, I'm just,
I don't ever see it. But I'd like to have everybody's support.
You sure you want this?
Yeah,
You
really.
still got another year in you?
Well, yeah.
2-2.
Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second. Any further comment or questions? All in favor say aye.
Oh, so on that one, and the one that we're discussing now is why we're not doing the trustee consideration of pay adjustment is because that has been deferred. And the mayor talked to me about removing that from the agenda. And I said,
Didn't listen, did you?
I am not touching this agenda again after this fiasco that we've had.
But it was fine.
Any old business? Any new business?
I want to bring up our new business because of what you just said. I remember a long time ago, we were looking at commissioners' pay, and we were way behind. And we got caught up, we were getting a whole lot less than what the city of Lebanon Mountain was getting. So y'all addressed that, and Commissioner Frank Bush at the time said, hey, let's do commissioner raises with state raises, whatever that is. And then it was brought up that when we had the back pay thing, the comptroller said, I'm not sure that you really do that because they changed the law that said, you really can't vote on your pay. But it would be this commission's job that if you want the next commission to get a raise, it would be done during your term here. That would take effect next time. That is allowed. So you would need to consider that if you want to do that. I don't know what city of Lebanon Mountain you're getting paid now. I have no clue. But that's what they told us. That would fall on this group here to do that. Then once the next group got in, then you're 4 years away from doing it again. If you decide to do that. If you don't want to do it, you don't do it. But that's just.
Do we need to have a pay study on it?
I don't know why you got something smart to say.
I got.
I would not take
I was
any
gonna tell you,
different.
that's gonna depend whether or not we get reelected or not, whether we want the next bunch to have a raise.
Well, that's true.
Pretty much what I was thinking.
I think it's important that we do our due diligence though.
I think school board members' salaries are tied to the county commission, aren't they?
If we get one, they get one.
That's right.
It's equal to, isn't it?
Well, it's supposed to be.
I still, probably wrong because I'm not an attorney and I didn't sleep at Holiday Inn Express last night. But I still think our original resolution was correct.
Which was.
And what we
Which
really.
was basically that you guys move at the
With the
same,
state.
with the state rates.
Yeah.
They said you can't do that. I still think if we were to potentially get an attorney general's opinion, we might win. Because you guys that was done in 2016.
Yes.
So you guys never voted on a raise for yourselves. That was done back in
The
2016.
good thing about that is nobody would ever have to be voting on a raise for themselves
That's
for
exactly.
the next commission.
Yeah.
And that sure takes a lot of.
Yeah, I think we're right, but I can't do that without having some legal standing.
And in our conversation with them, they didn't, because we brought up the fact that we thought that was the best way to go because we didn't want nobody ever voting on their own raise, and it kind of gave it a chance to not get behind. And then we also argued the fact, and I think maybe we were going to do it at one time, maybe we never did, that when that law came in, y'all had already passed this.
Correct.
So that would be grandfathered in, and that the Attorney General could make that opinion that this one was already in place before CTAS put theirs in place. before the state put that in place, and so therefore it would be granted for them. But I don't think we ever followed up with the Attorney General's opinion.
What would we have to do, and it's not necessarily about the compensation for me necessarily,
Yes, sir.
but I would have a terrible time ever voting to compensate myself.
Right.
So what do you do to try to put that back in place?
Well, I think there's a couple things you could do. I think seeking the Attorney General's opinion would be one. I think secondarily, and I don't know if this would work or not, again, not an attorney, but perhaps you could pass a resolution tying it to the elected officials' raises, but it would only be effective every 4 years. So we'd have to go back on that new election, when the election happened, we'd have to go back and figure, okay, what raises did the state give the last 4 years, and apply that to this bunch till the next election.
Another option would be to get the legislature to change the law to allow that to happen, to be tied to the state. It'd be a whole lot lesser gamble, I think, than the Attorney General.
Yeah.
But you could do that, and that way you just, if the state gives a 30% raise, y'all get a 30% raise, the statute there to cover you, you didn't do it, statute.
Like I say, I don't want to be in a position having to vote for a raise for myself ever, and I don't think anybody sitting as a commissioner would want to be in that position if it would be eliminated. And it was working fine, but if it's not legal, it's not legal.
But I just think the best way to handle that would be legislation.
That's a long time.
That's what?
That's a long process right there. It'd be
Well,
next year
depends
now
on-
before you.
Depends on what they want passed, doesn't it? If they want to pass something, they can pass it with there. If they don't want to, they'll send it to a study committee.
Again,
But that means it'd be next year, the earliest, before it could even be considered.
Probably.
I mean,
I don't know their rules, I probably shouldn't.
I feel confident saying that as far along as they are.
I have question, and the comptroller's office would probably tell me no, but is my previous 2016 resolution still in effect? In other words, I couldn't give you guys a raise during this last 4-year term, but now, does my 2016 resolution that says they get the same raise as the elected officials?
I think we talked about that
Is
in a
it-
meeting in your office one day. Perhaps somebody one of the auditors was there that day. And they wouldn't go out on a limb and say we could, they wanted the
They'll
attorney
defer to the
general.
Attorney General.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I remember.
And then the attorney general, no, they're not so.
I mean, we really.
The comptroller will give
we
an
need to
opinion
do
of
something
$40.
about it. I don't even want to have to vote for a raise. And I don't think anybody, sitting as a commissioner, if we never get another raise in the next 20 years, nobody ever wants to do that.
Yes, sir.
And that was keeping that from happening.
It was. I think it was extraordinarily fair. I think, I think it was the best possible scenario. And see, I think it's a case where a law killed something or negatively affected something that it wasn't intending to. I think our situation was actually really good.
Yeah, and it wasn't intended to do that.
Yeah.
So what would we need to do to make something happen? I mean, where would this need to start at?
I don't know, maybe our local representatives, if it's a legislative thing.
Yeah, the way we would vote to request an attorney general's opinion, and then, but we can request it, but we can't get them to do it. One of the senators or representatives would have to
In other
officially.
words, we would need a resolution asking our representative to represent us, in other words.
Yeah.
So what committee would that need to start in?
I think you can start right here. I mean, that's where we deal with pay issues, obviously, we dealt with several of them.
Can we
That-
put that on the agenda for next month?
Yes, good.
While he's writing, tell me what we did with the trustees thing, we just,
It's off the table, yeah.
okay.
Again, that was out of concern that I don't want to,
I just didn't know office,
I didn't want to make us have to meet Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock by continuing to change the agenda.
Now, I have one more question, I know you're ready to
Go
go.
for it.
Do we need to set a hard and fast timeline about something being submitted to go on the agenda to Sandra? If you don't make it, you're off for 30 days.
We've done that many a times. We've
Well,
talked about it.
So we sent, like in this case here, we sent, Sarah looked at it the other day as well. I think when Joe sent his out and didn't get it to Sandra, maybe was what happened, I think. Is what I
That's what
understood.
happened, yes.
Okay, but he sent 532. Sarah's already gone, so Sarah's not gonna include on the website, that time. So we did a 12 o'clock, is what Sarah put an email out to everybody, they said, 12 o'clock, Sandra, you get that to me, we'll get it on the website, we'll be good to go. So, yeah,
Fixed.
so we did cover that piece, they moved that timeline up.
I know law's the law, and we've got somebody that's gonna make us honor it, and
Sure.
we just need to do what we've got to do to keep this from happening.
Yeah, that's, I think it's worked pretty well. We'll just
We do it.
have a little snafu this time.
Well, me being in Megan, not a bit, but I don't like being in the wrong either,
No, sir.
in this, especially in this situation.
Well, it may be a hill you can't climb, Tom.
One more motion.
Motion
Yeah, he's
adjourned.
finally coming.
Y'all be careful